What about the form of Richmond also, as we talk about good teams? And this is creeping up on us, the careers of the great Dusty Martin, Jack Riewoldt and Trent Cotchin. Neil Balme was on the Sunday Footy Show last week, guys. I don't know whether you saw it, but the question was put to him about particularly and specifically Jack and Trent, Riewoldt and Cotchin, and he just totally shot it down. Now, Neil Balme doesn't muck around, but it's all about the now. I'm paraphrasing a deeper answer, but it's all about the now. Whatever happens to those guys next year can happen after the completion of this season. We know that the talk has already been in play about Dusty Martin potentially not being at Richmond next year. Now, he's got 2 years of a contract to run, unlike Riewoldt and Cotchin, but we may be watching the last 7 home and away games of these guys in Richmond colours under a certain scenario.
Are they playing well enough, Riewoldt and Cotchin? I know Cotchin's out at the minute, but are they playing well enough to say they get another year?
Simple answer, yes, they could.
Yeah.
I think though a lot pans out on how their season finishes as a footy club, whether they get to a grand final, whether they get close, whether they miss the 8. I think all of that will come into it, not only from the club's perspective, but even maybe the players' perspective and where they see their football.
I don't see, I mean, they're both role players now. We know that. I mean, Jack on his day can still kick a bag of goals. I noticed his kicking certainly looks like this year, and who knows what he's carrying. Because when you get to that, you're probably carrying something, a little bit of penetration. Saw on the weekend a few that he would normally make the distance easily, and they just sort of fell short and inaccurate. But I think he's still doing his job, what they require of him, and that's compete, bring it to ground, and do all those team things that he does. And Cotchin's still as hard as a cat's head.
Yep.
Yeah.
His attack on the footy, his turnaround. Actually, Jack and Cotchin, both, their turnaround from footballers, from Coleman medalist and best and fairest winners,
and Brownlow,
into team-orientated champions, has been quite remarkable what they've done in their careers.
At this point in time, though, is Jack Riewoldt keeping a younger player out of the side?
No, there isn't a younger
and that's sort of what it comes down to. You know, when I go back to my experience when there was talk of, do you want to go on for another year? Should you go on for another year? The point where the Blues were at, it was like, well, if I go on for another year, it's purely out of selfishness and the fact that I can keep a young kid out of the game. There's no point in doing that. Where the Tigers are at the minute, that discussion probably is more pointed towards Cotchin.
Then they recruited Eddie Betts.
Yes, correct. But to the point, like Cotchin, if he can only play midfield and Riewoldt can only play forward, at the minute there's not an up-and-coming forward at Richmond that Jack's keeping out of the side. Whereas if Trent's in the midfield and he's keeping out Liam Baker getting more minutes, Jack Graham spending more chunks in there, Dusty Martin, we all know if he wants to go in there, he can do what he wants. But I think that becomes part of the conversation as well.
And if players are more open to understanding next year, if someone does go past them, they might not be in the senior 22 every week. And if they're okay with that, then there is still a role for those players at the footy club. And for what it's worth, Damo, I struggle to see Dusty in another team's colours going forward. I think that he's
and you know him the best.
I think that the environment they've got around him, that's where he's most comfortable. The personality. I think it's a very slim chance that he'll play for another club. That's just an opinion, though.
I totally agree. Yep. I can't see him in any other colours. And Dusty's such...
It would only be one of the two Sydney colours.
But he's such a reserved player. You know, is he the sort of guy that'll go to another club and embrace it and get a group of...
It's only Sydney, straight away. It's only Sydney in the conversation.
Yeah, but he's also got to...
As in Sydney, the city.
He's also got to fit into
a new footy club.
Fit into that group. I mean, this group, they've grown up together, Cotchin being a part of that. In actual fact, Cotchin might be... those type of players that leave might have a big say in how Dusty feels about those last 2 years if they do retire.
Dusty's interview with Mitch Cleary, though, on the way into the scan yesterday was unbelievable. Did you
save that? We're saving that for the Daisy Duck Guide. I'll ask you about that next on the Daisy Duck Guide.
Made me laugh.
Damo, what else you got to touch on?
Yeah, we'll just